Retail Analytics Workflow using Python. In this lesson, we tackle a typical retail analytics business problem. How do we understand our sales patterns and customer behavior using Python? Analytics helps make better inventory, sales, and marketing decisions by providing insights into what products sell, who buys them, and when. You will learn to load real retail datasets, calculate sales metrics, identify top products, segment customers, and prevent common errors in retail data analysis. By the end, you will produce actionable insights that can drive improvements in product assortment, customer targeting, and revenue growth. Running the cell now. We import pandas to work with retail data frames. We import NumPy to help with numeric operations and simulations. We import the warnings module. We turn off warnings so our outputs are cleaner. Running the cell now. Practice prompt: try adding matplotlib to your imports and explain why it might be useful for retail analytics. Core retail analytics concepts. Retail datasets can include transactions, customer orders, product catalogs, or market basket information. Key sales metrics: revenue, total money earned, quantity sold, and price per unit. Beginner mistakes include misinterpreting price versus revenue, forgetting to group by product or customer, and not handling missing data. Running the cell now. Practice prompt: what is the difference between a transaction dataset and a product catalog in retail analytics? We start by loading a real online retail transactions dataset so we can analyze customer purchases. Here is the location of the public dataset. We read the Excel sheet containing transaction data from the given years. We convert the invoice date to date-time format to enable time-based analysis. Let us print the shape so we see how much data we have. Let us show the first 3 rows to understand what each transaction includes. Running the cell now. This output shows the initial loading of a large retail transactions dataset, with over 540,000 rows and 8 columns capturing key sales details like product codes, quantities, prices, and customer information. Notice the shape confirms a substantial number of transactions, while the preview reveals important columns to use later for calculating revenue and grouping by products or customers. This first step highlights the importance of properly importing and understanding the dataset structure before performing any sales analysis. Practice prompt: what columns from the retail transactions data would be useful for calculating revenue per order? Knowing how many different products are sold helps us estimate catalog size and inventory risk. We count unique product descriptions. We print the number of unique products sold in this transaction dataset. Running the cell now. This output shows the total number of unique products sold, which is 4,223. Noticing the count of distinct product descriptions helps us understand the product variety in the dataset and emphasizes the importance of correctly identifying unique items when analyzing sales data. This step prevents common mistakes like double counting products when calculating metrics by product. Practice prompt: try previewing a list of unique product names in the dataset. To analyze sales, we need to know the revenue from each line item. We create a revenue column by multiplying quantity sold by item price. We show quantity, price, and calculated revenue for the first few rows. Running the cell now. This output shows the first 5 rows of the dataset with the new revenue column, calculated as quantity times price per unit. Notice that revenue correctly reflects the total sales amount for each transaction, reinforcing the key concept that revenue is not simply the price but the product of quantity sold and price. This step is essential to avoid beginner mistakes in retail analytics and to enable meaningful sales insights. Practice prompt: what would happen if the price column had missing or 0 values? How would that affect revenue? Let us find top-performing countries by total revenue to inform where most sales come from. We group by country and sum all revenue for each one. We sort revenue in descending order and show the top 5 countries. Running the cell now. This output shows the total revenue generated by the top 5 countries, with the United Kingdom dominating sales by a wide margin. Notice how grouping by a country and summing revenue reveals key geographic insights, which is crucial for understanding market performance. This step emphasizes the importance of correctly aggregating sales data to avoid misinterpreting individual prices instead of overall revenue. Practice prompt: could you group by both country and another variable, like invoice no? Store managers want to know how much customers buy in each order. We aggregate the quantity for each invoice, then get the mean over all orders. We print the average number of items per order, rounded for clarity. Running the cell now. This output shows the average number of items sold per order, calculated by summing quantities within each invoice and then averaging across all orders. Notice the relatively high average of about 200 items, which highlights the importance of carefully grouping data by invoice to avoid mixing individual product quantities with order totals. This reinforces how grouping impacts key sales metrics like order size in retail analytics. Practice prompt: try finding the average revenue per order using the same approach. Identifying high-value customers helps focus marketing and loyalty programs. We group by customer ID, sum revenues, sort, and display the top 5 spenders. Here are the customers with the highest total purchases. Running the cell now. This output shows the top 5 customers ranked by total revenue, highlighting their spending amounts. Notice how grouping by a customer ID and summing revenue reveals the highest value customers, which is essential for identifying key clients in retail analytics. This practice ensures you're analyzing revenue correctly by aggregating sales per customer rather than individual transactions. Practice prompt: how would you filter to show only customers from a specific country in this top customer summary? Understanding sales trends by month helps with inventory and budget planning. We extract the invoice month from the date column. We group by each month and sum revenue. Here are the first 12 months with their total revenues. Running the cell now. This output shows the total revenue aggregated by each month, revealing trends in sales over time. Notice the clear seasonality and growth from December 2010 through November 2011, highlighting months with peak revenue. This demonstrates the importance of grouping by time periods to accurately track and analyze sales performance trends in retail data. Practice prompt: how could you visualize monthly revenue using a bar chart? Merchandisers want to know what products sell best by quantity. We group by product description, sum up quantities, and sort. These are the 5 most popular products based on volume sold. Running the cell now. This output shows the top 5 best-selling products by total quantity sold, with the World War II gliders ASSTD designs leading at 53,847 units. Notice how the data is grouped by product description and summed to capture total sales volume, illustrating how to aggregate and rank products correctly. This helps avoid beginner mistakes by ensuring sales metrics are calculated across all transactions per product. Practice prompt: now find the top products by total revenue, not just by quantity. Sometimes, we need to work with multiple datasets. Here we simulate a retail customer orders table to join with transaction analytics. We set seed for reproducibility. We define how many orders we want to simulate. We generate order identifiers. We assign customer IDs to each order. We randomly select product IDs, simulating the product purchased in each order. We simulate quantities per order. We add order date and time for each entry. We assemble all simulated order data into a data frame. We print the shape to check rows and columns. Running the cell now. This output confirms that the orders dataset contains 1,000 rows and 5 columns, representing individual transactions with details like order, customer, product IDs, quantity, and order date. Notice the intended structure matches typical retail datasets, ensuring each order captures key sales metrics and identifiers needed for deeper analysis without missing data. Practice prompt: how would you join orders to a product catalog to get product descriptions? Joining orders with a product catalog adds information like category and price for deeper analysis. We set C to keep results consistent. We define the available product categories. We enumerate the product IDs. We randomly assign a category to each product. We simulate product prices. We create a complete catalog data frame. We merge the orders and product catalog on product ID using a left join. Let us look at how orders now have extra product information. Running the cell now. This output shows the first 3 rows after merging the orders data with the product catalog, adding category and price information to each order. Notice how each product now has a corresponding category and price, enabling more detailed sales analysis by product type and revenue per unit. This merge is crucial for avoiding beginner mistakes like mixing up price with revenue or neglecting to group sales by product attributes. Practice prompt: try grouping orders by product category and calculating total quantity per category. Retailers often want to know which customers make bigger purchases on average. We compute the total order value per row. We find the average order value for each customer and sort from highest to lowest. Let us see the top 5 average customer order values. Running the cell now. This output shows the top 5 customers ranked by their average order value, which combines quantity and price to reflect total spending per order. Notice the high values, indicating these customers consistently place large orders, a key insight for targeting high-value segments. This reinforces the lesson on correctly calculating revenue-related metrics by grouping orders by customer and multiplying quantity by price. Practice prompt: how would you identify customers with unusually low or high average order values? Analyzing which product categories earn the most revenue helps guide product line and marketing focus. We group orders by category and sum order values for each. Here is the total revenue per category, sorted from highest to lowest. Running the cell now. This output shows the total revenue generated by each product category, sorted from highest to lowest. Notice how the sports category leads in revenue, followed by beauty and clothing, highlighting which categories are driving sales. Grouping by category and summing order values here helps us understand the revenue contribution per segment, a key step in retail analytics to focus marketing or inventory efforts. Practice prompt: try visualizing percentage share of each category in overall revenue. Market basket analysis helps find which products are often bought together for cross-selling. We define a list of retail products. We simulate 300 transactions, each with 3 products. We randomly assign products to each transaction. We create a data frame of baskets, each row is a product in a transaction. We count occurrences of products within each transaction. We pivot to a wide format for pairs analysis. We import combinations from iTools to find product pairs. We import counter for frequency tallying. We create a list to store product pairings. For each row, we identify the set of products in the basket. We get all combinations of 2 products per basket. We count occurrences of each product pair. Let us print the 5 most common product pairs bought together. Running the cell now. This output shows the top 5 most common pairs of products purchased together in the same transaction, with frequencies around 27 to 28 co-occurrences. Notice how the code groups transactions and then counts product pairs, illustrating how market basket analysis reveals popular product combinations. This helps retailers understand customer buying patterns beyond single product sales, aiding in cross-selling and promotions. Practice prompt: which product combinations might suggest opportunities for discount bundles? Always check for missing price values, as they break revenue calculations. We count missing values in the price column. We print how many prices are missing. Running the cell now. This output shows that there are no missing values in the price column, which means the dataset is complete for this key sales metric. Ensuring no missing prices is crucial before calculating revenue or average price, helping prevent errors in further retail analysis. This step reinforces the importance of data validation in core retail analytics. Practice prompt: what should you do if you find many missing prices in your retail data? Business insights depend on clean, complete data. Missing customer identifiers make customer analytics impossible. We record the original number of transactions. We drop any rows missing customer ID. We print how many transactions had to be removed. Running the cell now. This output shows that 135,080 transactions were removed because they lacked a customer ID, highlighting the importance of handling missing data. Removing these incomplete records helps ensure accurate analysis of customer behavior and sales metrics by only including valid, fully identified transactions. This step prevents errors in grouping or aggregating data by customer later in the analysis. Practice prompt: how could you fill missing values for non-essential fields instead? If you try to access a group result by index, you might get a confusing error. We attempt to get the first group mean revenue directly. We catch and print the error message for educational purposes. This helps you avoid common pandas grouping mistakes. Running the cell now. This output highlights a common mistake when grouping data, attempting to index a grouped result improperly. The code tries to access the first element of a grouped series by position, but grouping by a description returns a series indexed by product descriptions, not a simple integer index. This example teaches the importance of understanding the shape and indexing of group data to avoid such errors when calculating key sales metrics like average revenue per product. Practice prompt: how do you correctly access the first value of a grouped series by its label, not index? Best practices and common retail analytics patterns. Segment customers by spend or frequency to improve targeting. Use category performance reports to inform purchasing decisions. Apply market basket analysis to create product bundles or recommend related items. Forecast demand and seasons using monthly sales trends. Always validate data sources, check column types, and handle missing or outlier values. Running the cell now. Practice prompt: which analytics method here could help a retailer promote items together and boost the average basket size? Let us finish with a full retail analytics workflow, from data to a business recommendation. We group transactions by product and total the quantity sold. We identify the top 3 products in units sold. We print those top sellers. We create a recommendation to increase stock or marketing for the strongest product. Let us print our actionable insight for this retailer. Running the cell now. This output highlights the top 3 products by total units sold, showing clear volume leaders with the World War II gliders ASSTD designs at the top. By identifying these high-volume items, the code supports the lesson's focus on leveraging sales data to guide inventory and marketing strategies, helping retailers prioritize products that will likely drive the most revenue. Practice prompt: would you adjust your recommendation if the top product had unusually low margins? Next steps: continue practicing retail analytics. Continue strengthening your analytics skills with more real retail datasets. Try visualizations, run market basket analysis, and forecast future trends. For more detailed video tutorials, search for Retail Analytics Python on YouTube. Running the cell now. Practice prompt: try identifying slow-moving products and suggest actions for inventory optimization. Subscribe to Data Science for Retail on YouTube for visual walkthroughs and deeper examples.